Good morning, it's Leanne Peters here. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And I'm here to pull some cards and share some guidance for this week ahead. That's this week starting Monday the 28th of October through to Sunday the 3rd of November. Can you believe it? We're already approaching November. So I trust this video finds you well. While you're coming on over, I do want to send out a big extra special welcome to my Temple of Balance patrons, my Pillar of Light members, and all of those of you who support my work through my website. Thank you so much for your support. Your support helps me be able to keep being here. So if you'd like to see me continue to be here, please go over to my website and please support my work in the way that you can or are able. So I'm coming to you live now from Tasmania, Australia, where it is Monday the 28th of October and the time is 8:29 a.m. Good morning, Sharon and Emily is here. Welcome to you both. And welcome to everybody. If you're new to watching, what I'm going to be doing is using my Oracle cards. These are literally my Oracle cards that I illustrated and created. We have the Speed of Light Oracle cards here combined with my Animal Kingdom Oracle cards. And I'll be using this deck of 110 cards, this combined deck, to find the best cards that the majority of us need for this week ahead. I'm not pulling cards for individuals. This is general guidance for everyone. So I trust that you've been led here for a reason, and I trust that something shared supports you at this time. I do recommend that you take on board what does feel right, what does resonate, and what does fit into your life pretty easily, and let the rest go. And let's see what happens. So the last couple of weeks I've started doing my videos weekly. So you will find that instead of sharing for a couple of days at a time, I'm sharing for the whole week ahead, and I'll be doing that for the next couple of months at the very least. So you'll know when I go back to the other way, which I do actually prefer. I'll go back to that other way when I can. So I think that's all I really need to say. So thank you. Good morning, Laura. Welcome. So I'm going to start. So the way I'm doing these readings now, being the whole week, is that I'm not pulling cards for each day. I am laying out my cards in a spread here next to me, and the spread is for the week. So the week will be now bunched into a day or a couple of days or this sort of thing. So that's the way I like to do my longer term readings. So I'm shuffling the cards and I'm asking the cards to show the majority of us. What do we need to know? What do we need to know for this week? Starting Monday the 28th of October through to Sunday the 3rd of November. So the best cards for the majority of us for this week ahead are these. And I'm just going to lay them face down here beside me. So just bear with me a moment. Okay, so I've got them face down and I'm going to turn them over now. So let's turn over the first card. This feels like for early in the week, so we're going to go Monday the 28th of October. We've got a Speed of Light Oracle card, and it is the Cobra Bite. The Cobra Bite is a featured card. What does that mean? It means it has further instructions here which say to take the top card from the deck. So I'm going back to my deck and I'm taking the top card. So Animal Kingdom Oracle card, and we have our friend that keeps popping up or keeps buzzing in is the Honey Bee. So let's look at these two cards. These two cards have come up for earlier in the week. So we're looking at Monday, maybe Monday into Tuesday. So they've come up together for a reason. We're going to look at them separately first, and then we're going to look at their relationship together. So this is card 9, the Cobra Bite. It says sting, shock, truth and illusion. This is a bit of a confronting, it's sort of a pushing forward card. It has like this bite feeling, a sting feeling, a stab feeling, a shock feeling. I've seen this card come up in the amazing, wow, what an amazing surprise, and I've seen it come up in the not so good surprise as well. So it doesn't come up to generate fear that, you know, we should just not do anything today just in case something terrible happens, but just allow the unfolding of our day to occur. It's probably likely for some of us that some surprise occurrence will happen. Hopefully it's in the good way, but it may not be. But what comes up with this card is something's trying to wake us up from illusion. So the truth is trying to pull us out of illusion. And this card tends to be very closely aligned with the truth. What is the truth in this situation? Are we seeing it? Are we clouded with illusion? Are we clouded with lies? Are we clouded with a misconception of things? Are we seeing things or others or ourselves not how they really are? So in other words, in perhaps an illusion, even though it feels very real. So this card's very much about cutting to the truth, and it really is cutting to the truth. It's like a sword, it's like a cut, it's like a sting, it's like a bite, and it cuts through the illusion and it brings us directly into the truth. And sometimes we need that because we're so clouded by the untruths or the illusion or the wounds or the pain or the lies or whatever it might be. So this energy cuts through to the truth, and that to me is a comforting thing about this card. No matter what occurs, I need to do my best to make sure I stay aligned with the truth that feels important to me, the truth that cuts through the illusion of what's perhaps holding me back, or perhaps what is not actually true. So that's the cobra bite. We'll look now at the bee, the honey bee. This keeps coming up regularly in the last few videos. It's card 32 and it says a short break. So maybe some of us need a short break, to take a break from the everyday, a break from things, a break from the stresses that we may be under. This card's also about efficiency and finding an efficient route or an efficient way of doing what needs to be done. An efficient way to get to the truth, perhaps. Or perhaps it might be helpful for us early in the week to make sure that we're taking the efficient, truthful, honest path. That if we deviate from that efficient, honest, truthful path, then we may find something takes us by surprise here. So it almost feels like we have a path to take, especially around Monday, but this could go into Tuesday, but certainly early in the week we have a path to take, and we're being encouraged to really consider taking that path as efficiently and as honestly as we can. If we deviate, if we follow distractions, if we procrastinate, then this is all taking us away from that efficiency and that path itself. And then something may occur that helps bring us back into that efficient, honest, straight line, that straight line that we take to wherever it is we're going, instead of going around all these corners and making things worse and more windy and more complicated than they need to be. So let's keep simple, let's stay to the path, let's stay true to the path as we move forward and find the straightest line, the best, most efficient path to get from point A to point B. And sometimes there are other points that we're going to in between those. So let's make sure that we're staying on track. I think that's what it's about too. So that's especially for Monday. Now we're looking at Tuesday and into Wednesday. So the 29th to the 30th of October, we have an Animal Kingdom Oracle card, and we have another consistent card. This turtle continues to come up as well in the last few videos. This is card 45, and it says slow and steady. Although this didn't come up in the last video, but it came up for several before that. So slow and steady, Tuesday and Wednesday. We might find that there's a slowing down sort of feeling. Our pace is perhaps more slower than it has been, but hopefully more consistent. There is a consistency with this card. This card is about going the distance, so really pacing ourselves as we move forward instead of being hasty and being hot and cold or fast and slow with our actions. There's more of a consistent pace that we find. So once we get onto that efficient path, once we get into that sort of straight line and find the best way forward, then it's about moving forward in those consistent, regular, sometimes slow, but doesn't have to be slow, but a steady, consistent pace moving forward. There's probably a lot for us to do, and a lot of us are probably feeling that. There's a lot to do here, there's a lot to do there in our life. So we can easily be overwhelmed by just the prospect of all we have to do. So instead of becoming overwhelmed and then procrastinating or sitting on it and not really doing much to get it happening, finding that consistent, steady, efficient path is probably going to be the most helpful for us to get little increments of things done at a time. So we might have a big mountain of things and we can't do it all at once. So we break down the mountain of things into priorities. What's the most important thing to do first? What's the most important thing to do second? And then we create a steady, efficient, consistent path through that mountain of things, if you like. That's what this feels like. So let's stay focused, let's stay attentive, let's work out what is the most important and determine our priorities. So that's Tuesday and Wednesday. Now we're looking at Thursday. So Thursday winds up the month. And this card seems to be out on the edge, which I don't know if that's significant at this point, but there is a reason why the cards are laid out the way they are. This sort of deviates off the path in some ways. For Thursday, it's a Speed of Light Oracle card, and it's Light Codes. Nice, card 41. Light Codes says incoming information, memories, and language. So this suggests new energy coming into us. That's if we're open to receiving it, of course, because if we're closed off and if we're fixed and stubborn and we don't want to change anything, or we're feeling very fixed and rigid on something, then all this energy is just going to wash over us like water off a duck's back. So this energy wants to come in. So it wants to come in. So when I drew this card, I imagined this being the crown of the head and all this energy of light, of energy coming into our crown, into our bodies. So there is an element of openness that's required for us to be able to receive this energy that's coming in. What is it? It's probably new ideas, inspirations, perhaps things like light bulb moments, things that inspire and motivate us to perhaps set some goals for ourselves or figure out our way forward or our way through aspects and areas of our life. There is something uplifting and refreshing and very new about this. It comes in, it's new, it's that impulse, it's the enthusiasm, it's the motivation and the stirring of new ideas, that spark inside us. That's the energy that comes with this card. So this energy is coming in. Let's make sure we're open to receiving. Let's make sure we're open to changing ourselves, to changing our life. And if change is a bit of a sort of an intense word for you, maybe I like to personally use also the word improvement. So if you are open to improving yourself, if you're open to improving your life, which is the same thing as change, but sometimes the word's a little bit better or easier to swallow, then be open to receiving the energy that you need, the motivation you need to improve yourself, to improve your relationships, to improve your life itself. So this is the sort of energy coming in. Now, it may not manifest as anything clear yet. It may not be a clear goal or a clear objective that drops in. It may be more of something a bit unruly, something a bit wild, something a bit that's stirring a little bit or a lot inside. It's a great time too, in relation to this card, to do some writing. So on the last day of the month, at the end of this particular month of October, Some of us may feel like we want to just do a lot of writing to get some energy out, some thoughts out of our head, to get our priority list down on paper so it's out of our head. So writing's going to really help bring this energy through. So this is a nice end to the month, something new that's preparing to come in. So that's great. And it may take us slightly, and this is not necessarily a bad thing, but it feels like it might take us slightly in a different direction. So we might see our path going a certain way, or our path might be going a specific way. But this energy here at the end of the month, it feels like it's wanting to divert us a little bit. So it might be pulling us sort of off path. It might be pulling us to other ideas and other things and other variations of our life. And not that we have to follow that, but it's just pulling us a little bit off our path. So it might be a little bit ungrounding too here at the end of the month, especially if there's a lot of things that we need to do. Okay, the 1st of November. The 1st of November is Friday, and we have an Animal Kingdom Oracle card, and we have the Masked Owl. The Masked Owl is card 49, and it reminds us to stay optimistic. Let's be optimistic and hopeful on Friday that things will work out, that things are going in the right direction, that we are where we need to be. But if we're not, if we are where we need to be, but if it's not where we want to be, then we have the power to make changes. So there is a psychic sort of spiritual element too to this card. So there's a tuning in feeling on a psychic, intuitive, spiritual level. So we might find ourselves quite connected or quite intuitive as well on Friday, feeling things in an intuitive way. We might feel spiritual energy around us quite strongly too on Friday. Now is not the time to give up though. It's time to stay optimistic, stay hopeful that things are working out, stay hopeful that we're on track, stay hopeful that this thing is going to be okay in our life. So if we've been going down the pessimistic route, this card's trying to get us to support us into becoming more optimistic. You know, things may be better than we think. Things may turn out okay. Sometimes our mind goes on tangents of thinking the worst. It doesn't necessarily need to be, we don't need to be thinking the worst. So let's stay hopeful that it might turn out better than we think, or better than we assume. So that's for Friday. Now we've got Saturday and Sunday. I've got 2 cards left. I'm going to look at these cards together. So we've got Saturday and Sunday for the weekend. We've got 2 Animal Kingdom. Oh, I can see them here. And we've got this one first. This is the Lunar Cycle, card 53. And it is also a featured card. But this is called a featured timing card. There are 4 of them in this deck. And this featured timing card has further instructions here, which say to take the second card from the top. So I'm going back to my deck and I'm going down to the second card, which is a Speed of Light Oracle. Oh, that's a nice card to have. It's the support card with the lunar cycle. Now, this is especially for Saturday, but we can add this to the whole weekend, really. But I feel like it's earlier in the weekend, most likely. We've got lunar cycle and the support card. The lunar cycle talks about a 1-month period. So we're looking at from around the 2nd, the 3rd of November to around the 2nd or the 3rd of December. So this is easy to put into basically the calendar month of November. This is highlighted. So something's in place that's over this first weekend of November that's in effect pretty much for the whole month. And it's connected with this card, the support card 35. 35. This card hasn't come up for a while, clearly. It says comfort, loved ones, and reassurance. This card would only come up if we needed support and reassurance that everything's going to be okay. This comes really nicely off the back of the Owl card, which is the staying optimistic and hopeful. This is reassuring ourselves that it's going to be okay. Our loved ones in spirit are close by. And again, this goes fantastically with the owl because I already talked about psychic intuition, spiritual energy around. So it's around strongly for Friday and around strongly for the weekend, or early in the weekend on Saturday especially. So we have this reassurance from our loved ones in spirit. And if you actually, we've got a memorial service happening on the Friday and sort of overflowing into the weekend. So this is really interesting for me, just personally. But maybe there's a loved one on your mind or something happening over the weekend or Friday that is connecting with your loved ones in spirit. Maybe you've recently lost someone, or that you've got a loved one who's been on your mind lately. So this is a reassuring, comforting card that your loved ones in spirit are close by, and they're drawing in closely over this weekend. In fact, they're going to draw in closely throughout the month of November. So not just on the weekend, but throughout the month. So this is a great time perhaps to light a candle for them, to think about them, flick through some photo albums, to write about them, maybe to write them a letter or read their story or write about their story. This sort of energy very strongly coming in. So we're being encouraged and reminded here that we are not alone. We are never alone. So we might think we are alone, and that's part of that sort of shift out of illusion, isn't it, that I talked about with the Cobra Bite card for Monday, the shifting out of illusion and into the truth, that we are not and we are never, ever alone. We might think we are, and that feels true and real to us, but that's an illusion. Because deep down inside we know in our heart, we know in ourselves that we are not alone. So tapping into these types of truths, and especially the truths of unity and togetherness and support, feel to be very strong, even in general for this particular week. So we are loved, we are supported. Let's keep reassuring ourselves that we are as well. Let's be careful that we're not waiting for others to tell us how great we are, or to step up and support us, and putting unrealistic expectations onto others. And instead, let's look at how we can reassure ourselves and how we can step up and become our best supporter moving forward. How can we support ourselves better? And it might be helpful to start with how we think about ourselves and how we speak about ourselves. So we can become our best supporter. How can we do that? What do you need? What support are you looking for in others that you're not receiving? And how can you step up and be that you're looking for in others? It's really powerful and extremely empowering for us to do that, because it also helps resolve difficulties in relationships, because we've got unrealistic expectations attached to someone. So what are we looking for in others? What do we need that we are not getting? And can we offer that to ourselves? And the other card for the weekend, an Animal Kingdom Oracle card, is our family card. It's the Elephant card 7, and it says family commitments. So this is highlighting the energy of family over the weekend. So family energy is strong, and it's very interesting for me because I have a family reunion for our memorial thing that we're doing. So this is very, very powerful for me just personally. But the family energy is strong, coming together and working together with our family. There's highlight here around the matriarch, which is connected to with this beautiful elephant. And this elephant, when we put the family stuff aside, this elephant reminds us, again, a bit like the turtle, to go the distance. This is about the marathon. It's not about the sprint. So if you've been feeling hasty, if you continue to feel haste and something's urgent and it has to be done yesterday, then perhaps like many of us from about a month ago, we've been learning a lot about patience. And I think the patience is helping us put the brakes on things that we feel like we need to rush with. Putting on the brakes and being okay for us to take our time, to be okay to go the distance, to find patience or to practice patience so that we can continue stepping forward in a consistent, regular way, going the marathon. So this energy still remains strong. So that's the Elephant card for the weekend, but especially towards the end of the weekend. So a great time to hang out with family. or reconnect with family if that's important to you. Now, sometimes our family are our friends or people we consider family. It doesn't have to necessarily be blood family, just so you know. So, there are our cards for this week. I am going to pull a theme card in just a moment, but before I do, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. If you have enjoyed this video, please interact. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please show us some love. Please comment. Please share if you're inspired to. If you'd like to learn more about my cards that I've used today, the Animal Kingdom Oracle, the Speed of Light Oracle cards, you can learn more about these decks. They're sold separately, and you can work with them separately, or you can combine them to make a really fun big deck like this if you wish. You can learn more about them on my website. Also, we've got our Release and Rebirth Intensive Healing workshop. It goes for 3 days in February, the 21st to the 23rd of February, here in Tasmania. If you're interested in that, you can find out more about that on my website. And there's online art class coming up for November, the card reading club. There's lots of things on my website. Please have a look and see if anything speaks to you, especially if you'd like to support my work or if you resonate with the way that I do my things. Please visit templeofbalance.com.au. So let's now look for the best theme card. The theme card will help bring this whole week together and help us see the bigger picture for these particular days. This is the card I keep in mind all week. So the best theme card for the majority of us for Monday the 28th of October through to Sunday the 3rd of November 2024 is this. It's a Speed of Light Oracle card, and we have Initiation. Initiation is card 21. And it says mastery, milestone, progression, and greatness. There's a lot in this card. So first of all, let me talk about this being initiation times are testing times. So we could have a bit of a testy week this week. And we might find that some of the tests that we go through, the life tests, are things that we've not long already been through. This is what happens when we go through the initiation phase of these tests. It reminds me of when we're at school or in college and we're learning a new topic, a new subject, let's say. And during that learning, we are given information and then we're given little tests throughout the year or throughout that learning period to test our knowledge on the information. And then at the end of the year, or the end of this course, we are tested through an exam. Now, the exam is always, or should always cover things that we've already learned, things that we've probably already been tested on to a smaller degree. It's an initiation to see, do we really know what this subject is? And if we pass that test, we go to the next course or the next year, or we get our qualifications or whatever it is. So this is the initiation. The initiation is an exam period. Now, some good things to keep in mind are that this initiation period is preparing us for the next level of our life. Also, that the exam period, this initiation period, is usually testing us on something we've already been learning in the last perhaps 3, 6, 12 months. So we might find ourselves saying something like, why am I going through this again? I thought I was tested on this 6 months ago. Well, yes, we were, but now we're being tested to see if we really know what we claimed that we knew before. So we need to be patient with ourselves in some ways during this initiation period. Initiation periods are really important periods of transition that prepare us to transition to a new phase. It's where we're tested to see if we can really put that theory that we've learned or what we talk about into action. Can we really back this up with understanding and meaning and action in our life? So this is a really important period. It also shows progression. So making progress in our life and also stepping forward. There's a forward feeling, stepping forward feeling here as we stay open in the front of our body, open in our heart, and we move forward, or we step forward. So we may be tested this week. It's not surprising, actually, with the Cobra Bite card that we had come up for Monday to come up to within this as a theme. So there is probably some tests that will be tested on to see, you know, really test us to see if we're really ready for moving forward. And let's just approach those as best as we can and as efficiently as we can and as patiently as we can. There's certainly a feeling of going the distance here in coming up through several cards. So being impatient or hasty or things needing to be done yesterday, this urgency is not favourable for this week. So we might need to be patient to find the efficient path, to keep going, to set a steady and consistent and honest path for ourselves moving forward. We're going the distance, we're going the marathon. This is not a hasty time. There also may be a milestone of some sort happening over this next week where we reach a pivotal moment, a milestone on our path. And during that milestone, we might be able to reflect on how far we've come and also consider where we're going. So these milestones are sort of like stopping points to acknowledge how far we've come. So there's a lot of very strong energy around for this week. So let's ride the wave as best as we can. Let's keep exercising our patience and let's pace ourselves as we move forward. So have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for connecting, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. I do recommend that you come back and connect with this video throughout the week, and just to get your bearings and see how things are fitting and flowing for you. And I look forward to connecting with you again next week. So take care of yourself, and goodbye for now.